Hi, I'm Eric Ausgerson, the CEO and president of CPA.com. And I'm here with Bill Hartzler, who's one of the leading world specialists on search engine optimization, SEO. And we're here today to discuss our .cpa launch. This is a very, very significant initiative for the profession. And there's lots of great questions that are coming in from firms related to this new domain. And we're going to be talking about one of the top questions, which is when you migrate a domain, what do you need to do? And one analogy that I've been using is every day, all the time, companies are moving their physical addresses. And when you move your physical office, there's steps you need to take. You need to contact the post office and let them know that you've got a new location. When you move domains, and this is happening all the time now, companies are changing their brands, firms acquire other firms, and actually over 50% of the addresses online now are not .com. So there's been a lot of changing of website domains. And when you do that, there is processes and procedures that you need to follow, and they're around SEO, search engine optimization. So this is why I'm going to have this discussion with Bill. So welcome, Bill. It's great to have you.
Great to be here.
Let me just give a little bit of highlights of your background. You've been doing this for over 20 years. I mean, the internet is now 30 years old, so you've been doing this for the past 20. You consult with all types of companies on their SEO strategies. I know you've been involved with numerous companies. Is there anything you want to share related to your background?
Sure. I mean, I started back in the 1990s as a webmaster, and doing all the kind of the technical website duties to keep websites up and running, and also have a technical writing background, and so that kind of was naturally to as things evolved on the web to understand not only the technical issues but also the content and marketing issues that are related to everything from the technical things on web servers, but also how specifically the public sees your image and online, and one of the first things they see is your domain name.
Well, thanks, Bill. In this category, it's huge. I mean, I was looking up how big is the SEO market. My understanding is it's roughly $100 billion. And I just was, we've all been seeing a lot about the post office budget. That's around 70 billion. So a lot of money is spent on search engine optimization. Before I get into some of the best practices with you, I just would like to talk a little bit about these new top-level domains. We're very excited to be rolling out this new restricted domain for the profession, which is going to offer increased security, greater trust, and lots of branding opportunities for firms.
Sure.
So I know you're well aware of these top-level domains. Could you comment and provide some perspective?
Sure, definitely. So there are a lot of different options. We have certain if we're speaking from the U.S., where a lot of it we're familiar with .com, .net, .org, and that also those were the traditional initial ones. But then we had things like CCTLDs, which are the country code TLDs,
Yep.
.ca for Canada and .fr for France, and so forth. And we're traditionally back in 2013 or so, the option was floated out that and we had the option to start to expand and essentially get more keyword rich type of domain names, where we talk about .insurance, and one of the original ones is .photography. And a lot of photographers move to .photography because it's pretty clear. I mean, they are a photographer if you are on .photography. Things other TLDs like .law, .for sale, .nyc for New York City. NYC has been very, very successful. It's fairly restricted, if you will, in that only a business in the 5 boroughs of New York City and can register one of those domain names and use it. So there's been a lot of really good success stories and people understanding. It's the fact that when you see a domain, you see one, you actually see it in the Google search results or Bing search results, and you kind of decide which ones, as you're searching, which ones you're going to click on. And obviously, if you're looking for something, in the insurance, or and you see a .insurance domain, or you'd see it, you're in the New York area and you see a .nyc, it's pretty clear that before you even click, the fact that okay, we're going to see a local .ny, a local New York City company that if we have a .nyc domain name. Same thing with .insurance. So .cpa is really a great opportunity because it's not only presenting your brand, but also it's pretty clear that when to the end users and consumers, that when they see a .cpa, they will be brought to a website that is is a CPA.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, only licensed firms and licensed CPAs are going to be able to register .cpa. And I just was on a webinar earlier this week with Randy Johnson, and we were talking about a lot of the security benefits related to a restricted domain, which is going to really help stop things such as phishing and spoofing attacks. But let's now move into the discussion around the best practices related to search engine optimization when you change domains. So I know you do this all the time. This is a standard process, but for people that don't know, this is new. So let's kind of give them the high level of outline of what needs to be done.
Sure. Traditionally, we just want to obviously register the domain and basically just get the whole process started, where we would have traditionally a page that is crawlable by the search engines, that and that people can actually go to it. That's kind of the just essentially just put your sign up on the road and say, okay, this is is an established domain name. That would kind of be the first. And then, then there are some other signals, like, on the, kind of in the background or on the web server level, that, technically that we redirect. We want to use a permanent redirect, basically to show that we've moved from one domain name to a new address.
Well, Google's published, I know, steps and procedures where you go and you let Google know that you've got this new domain. And what we're advising the firms to do, and so I just is some of the things you just said. After they register their .cpa domain, we're going to support a redirect service. So say they today have something like Hartzer.cpa, then Hartzer.com, then they will register the new domain in the new .cpa domain, and after a short period of time, they'll set up that redirect, and then they'll have the .cpa domain redirected to their .com name URL in most cases. Sure. And then when they decide, this is the question that's coming in from firms. So they understand that the redirect works, and then what they're concerned about is making sure that their SEO equity. One thing we've been talking about is their brand equity online, but their SEO equity, and they want to transfer that. They've worked hard at that related to their current address, and they want to make sure that they maintain that. And the interesting thing is Google's well aware of this, and Google wants to support the transfer of that equity. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Once the move is made and everything is, these redirects are in place, Google does have a change of address form, just like the United States Postal Service is essentially a form to fill out. We want to start at that point. Sure, we will change the address. We also want to make sure that all the indications are, that humans see that we've moved. So, for example, your social media accounts and your various profiles, anything that you can have control over, that to update, you probably you would want to update around the same time.
And that's what we're going to do. I mean, today we're just shooting a short video here to let the firms know that we're going to be putting in place a lot of best practices. We're going to actually do a 1-hour webinar where we cover all of the steps required related to changing your domain address. I think some firms may be aware of this, some firms may not be aware of this.
Yep.
We also do believe that when you make this change, you actually can also make improvements. We talk all the time about how firms are advancing something like their client accounting services area and putting in a new platform. It could be something like bill.com. When you do that, you look to improve what you're doing. We actually think through this process, one, you'll file the proper notification with Google, and then you have the opportunity to also look at, is there other things that you could do around SEO? Maybe some firms have got it all figured out. That's great. All you need to do is do the transfer. There may be some firms out there that want to use this opportunity to do more. And this gives you a catalyst to kind of think about what you're doing in SEO. I mean, Bill, is that something you've experienced when you've worked with other companies as they switch their domains?
Sure, exactly. Some actually have gone even more and used the opportunity to do a little bit tweaks on their web design or launch a new website at the same time. That's certainly not required, but that's something that is an opportunity that could be involved in the effort, and it's also an opportunity to just basically make sure everything loads properly and the site looks great on a mobile device and it works great on desktop, on a laptop and so forth, and everything that is working properly, and to take the time to review everything at this, related to the website.
Well, Bill, thank you. I mean, I think, again, Bill Hartzer, he's a specialist. If you go to his LinkedIn profile or his Twitter account, he's got tens of thousands of followers. So he's been providing a lot of great guidance to many companies, and he's going to be one of our experts, and we'll be putting together webinars outlining the steps required for firms to make sure they're maintaining their SEO equity as they move to these new domains, the new .cpa domain. So once again, I just want to review that, what .cpa is all about is an opportunity to have increased security. Everybody is concerned about online communication today. These top-level domains are in some ways like Internet 2.0. The governing body ICANN understood that. That's one of the reasons why they've rolled this out, and that's why a lot of leading entities are leveraging them. We think this is a great leadership opportunity for the profession, and there is absolutely, ways to go about moving your domain. And one thing that Bill and I talked about earlier was that a lot of the next generation are so well aware of all of these different domains. More and more AI companies always launch with .ai. So this is the future. There are paths that there are steps that you need to take to do it correctly, and we look forward to putting those tools out there for you. So thanks, Bill. Look forward to working with you and doing more of these videos and webinars. So thanks everybody for your time. And once again, you can go to domains.cpa to learn more about